Namaskar. Good evening. Welcome to our session this evening. Today, our topic is practicality. We will start by reading what Swami Kriyananda said in Affirmations for Self-Healing about practicality. Do the affirmation for practicality and a prayer, and then start with the session. Practicality. Many spiritual seekers and others with high ideals lose sight of the need to make their idealism practical. Many even resent the suggestion that they try to put an ideal into practice, as though the very effort to do so would mean somehow lessening its purity. But God is no ideal dreamer. Were the universes not kept in a state of perfect balance, chaos, not harmony, would be the common state. We too should be practical in our idealism. Life, to be ever expansive, must be a search for truth. Will it work? Is the preliminary question. Is it true? The test for an ideal is whether it is practical or not. But practicality, we mature from the state of idle dreaming to becoming emissaries of the truth. For the affirmation on practicality, please repeat this after me, first loudly, then softly, and then mentally. Through my spirit, soars in the skies of consciousness, my feet and hands labor here on earth to make truth real to all. Though my spirit soars in the skies of consciousness, my feet and hands labor here on earth to make truth real to all. Now softly, though my spirit soars in the skies of consciousness, my feet and hands labor here on earth to make truth real to all. And now mentally, though my spirit soars in the skies of consciousness, my feet and hands labor here on earth to make truth real to all. And now please mentally pray with me. Let not my thoughts lift me up through beautiful clouds of imagined possibilities unless you give me the power also to materialize my dreams. So talking about the topic of practicality in spirituality, the thoughts and questions that really come to our mind are, is it possible to be spiritual in daily life? Is it possible that the peace and the calmness that we experience in meditation for a few moments maybe be possible to be expanded to our daily lives, to every part of it, maybe for the full day? The thoughts also come that can practicality on the path of spiritualism actually take away our problems? Can they be the removers of obstacles that we face on our path? Or do we really look at spiritualism more as something that we do when we meditate quietly, but then we get out of it and live our daily lives the way we normally would? Typically, when we are meditating, we are calm and peaceful, but the minute we hit the traffic on the day, we are again getting agitated about what we experience. So is that being practical about following our spiritual path? But there is more that meets the eye, and that is what we are going to be talking about. We have various roles that we play in our daily lives. It could be the role of a parent, where we are bringing up children, and bringing up children is a whole universe of activities, a whole universe of responsibilities. It could be the role of a spouse. We are playing a householder's role, and It requires us to have different responsibilities as either a husband or a wife, and then a whole host of expectations of what we are to do and how we should respond and what we should do. It could also be a role of a child that we are playing for our parents who are dependent on us, and we have to take care of their health, their responsibilities, to fend for them, and also make sure that everything around them is doing good. So in this, all these roles that we play in our daily life, how is it possible to draw from spiritualism and apply it and have that peace and calmness that we experience for a few moments still be there for all that we experience? Have you ever tried holding your hand, your palm really close to your face? Try doing that and try to see all the lines that you see on your palm. Is it possible? Maybe not. You'll see maybe a line or two, but if you draw your palm further away from your face and now try reading it or seeing the lines, you can see all of those. And also, not only the lines, but also your entire hand in entirety. That is pretty much about our lives as well. That if we get into our lives so close and start seeing it as we are doing it, we are controlling it, we are the ones who are responsible for the outcomes of it. We need to make sure that everything is done right. We are holding our lives much too close to our faces. So what do we need to do? We need to take a step back and look at it from a distance, and then maybe we will be better able to see what is happening over there, how is it meant to be, and what is really required from us. Well, you may think that it is easier said than done. If it were so easy to step back when we are in the midst of all the problems, everyone would be doing so. You're right indeed that it may not be very easy, but it is possible because the effort starts from us. Is it really possible to think about stepping back in the midst of problems and saying, okay, I'm going to be peaceful about it? Well, it doesn't come from our own doing it, but it comes from our wanting to do the same. It starts from us. Think also of any instance that you could have with someone who was being very difficult with you. And at that moment, you maybe took off on that person because that person was making a mistake according to you. But think also of a time where someone was being difficult with you and you actually sat back and maybe had a laugh or a smile and say, okay, this person doesn't know, so let me just help this person out of this particular situation. What was the difference in the two? The person was still being difficult with you. It wasn't an ideal situation. You knew that the person is being wrong. But I think the main point over here is that you were at peace and calm at the second instance. So if you are at peace within, you are at calm within, you are not having the anger get to you, but you're having more the harmonious sense within you, you will see a situation very differently. So it is really about our willingness, our wanting to be in this peaceful and calm state all the time that can actually help us to draw the practicality from any path of spiritualism and apply it to our daily lives. I can give you an example of something that I went through, and it's a small example but maybe a big one for me since I went through it. I had this mental obstacle of not being able to do mental calculations, mathematics, mentally. And in my profession, I'm a chartered accountant and I'm doing finances for a big multinational, so it requires me to constantly be doing a lot of calculations all the time. But somehow mental mathematics just didn't work for me, and maybe I was of the thought that since there is a calculator, why stress myself to try to do multiplication mentally? But you know how there are all kinds of people. They would be faster in mental maths than me, and often in office, some question about how much would this result into, and I would run for my calculator. And the other person would quickly give an answer and say, are you even a chartered accountant? And it wouldn't seem to bother me so much, but it was somehow settling at the back of my mind that I think I should be doing better mental mathematics. But I think it was somehow growing also, and I was just ignoring it, thinking that it's not important. But from the time that I started thinking about what's bothering me, I realized it was somehow still not leaving me with that thought of saying, are you good with this or not? So I thought, let me just tackle it and let me not bother me. And what it required for me to do is go back to the basics, do the multiplication tables, and think if everyone can do it, how bad and how difficult will it be? And I think the moment I thought that, the moment I was willing to give it a try, somehow it all seems to flow. I put down the table of mathematics, multiplication tables from 1 to 15, started going through it every day, and then started mentally practicing the answer to some questions that could be discussed. And believe me when I say it, it went with great ease. I just didn't realize that it could be so difficult. It needed indeed some effort, but the requirement for effort was coming from within. It wasn't to prove to anybody how good or bad I was, but it was just something that I wasn't willing to place any effort on, but then went ahead with it. So now I can wish to do mental mathematics or do mathematics on the calculator, it doesn't matter. So it is really as simple as this, of when we feel we want to make a change, and we want to make a change in ourselves, we start drawing all the practicality from the path onto us. There are many experiences that I have actually encountered, but because I have been following the path of spiritualism as described by Paramahansa Yogananda, there are various techniques. There are techniques on building focus. There are techniques on building concentration. There are techniques on even energizing. To share with you, I was earlier probably having 4 to 5 cups of tea at office, because suddenly after a meeting the energy levels would just start to go down and my blood sugar I could feel is just running out. So what to do? Go to the vending machine and get a cup of tea with a lot of sugar and get the energy levels back again. But believe me when I say this, I don't need tea anymore, because every time I feel that something's not right, I'm just heading out to a garden and doing the exercises for super conscious living that instantly bring up the energy that seems to be going down. So when we are in this world, it's going to require us to play a lot of roles that we play. But if we have the tools with us, which are given on the path of spirituality, we are able to practically utilize those tools and apply it to any situation in our life. What could be some tips that I could mention to you that you can apply for practicality? The tip would be, don't be a wishful dreamer, but be actually a doer. Think of something that's whatever is bothering you and go out and solve it. Have a solution-minded approach and try and look at everything as an opportunity, no matter how difficult it seems. You may not be able to crack the code at the first instance, but you will realize that even a one step taken towards that difficulty is a march forward towards ultimately getting the solution of it. Also try and see what you should be doing rather than what you would like to do. That would really help you. Also build up your willpower and determination to change yourself. But most importantly, you must meditate if you can. Learn to meditate, because meditation gives you the biggest tool of building up your intuition that helps you get that inner certainty, just the way you're trying to build your inner strengths up. The inner certainty of what you should do when you are faced with any particular situation in your life. And that intuition comes from that same substance of nature, which is actually the energy that is running the universe. And imagine tapping onto that power, which gives you the sense of what you should be doing and also giving you the strength of actually doing that.